given that he's a Mugole.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I think, his 9th swearing in. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. 86, 91, 96, 2001. So it's been there forever. And the one thing I have learned from President Yoweri Museveni is there is a huge gulf, huge gulf between what he says and what he does. And that's a very disappointing thing, because when he's speaking, he's inspiring. When he's acting, he's frustrating. The president has promised that he wants Uganda to leapfrog into maybe middle income status, okay, in the next so many years. They want to increase Uganda's GDP tenfold in the next 15 years. I should tell you, there is no capacity whatsoever in terms of the way the state of Uganda, the way power is organized, the way power is exercised, and the way power is reproduced. There's not a single chance in hell that we can even increase it 4 times for the following reasons. And I'll come to the issue of corruption. One, you see, to multiply an economy of a country at that level, you need energy. Would you agree? You need infrastructure.
Mm.
And in each of those areas, this infrastructure can be transport infrastructure, airports, seaports, roads, railways. You need ICT infrastructure. And then, of course, you need energy, dams, transmission lines, distribution lines. In each of those critical areas, the performance of the state of Uganda is characterized by gross incompetence, corruption, apathy, indifference, foot dragging, false compliance, etc. So I don't see how you can achieve that. When it comes to matters of corruption, I think that the way power has been organized in Uganda, let me put it this way, you know, I'm not an anti-corruption evangelist in the traditional moral sense Ugandans construct the problem. Because I don't think that you can fight corruption by trying to make Ugandans holy. They're not going to be. The challenge Museveni has faced, and where I think he has been exhibited abysmal performance, is he has allowed bureaucratic inertia to take control over his vision. What do I mean? You see, the government of Uganda is built around the ethic of accountability by procedures rather than accountability for results. If Medad Segona works in the Ministry of Finance in the procurement department, he's sent to Nyangweso Stores Limited to buy reams of paper. And he's a very efficient man. He violates all government procedures, goes and buys each ream of paper for 10,000 shillings. He'll be fired. But if Waswa Balunyanda, Waswa is here, will defend me on this, follows every single procedure, goes to the same store, buys the same reams of paper, same everything, but and buys each ream at 50,000, he'll be promoted. Simply because he dotted every I and crossed every T. Let me tell you, once you have a system of accountability to procedures rather than to results, you are cooked. That is why in Uganda you can build a dam, build a railway line, do anything at exorbitant cost. You can delay for years and years. When did we launch this SGR? Museveni with Kagame, Uhuru, and who is the other guy? It may not even have been Uhuru, if I'm not mistaken. But there is a picture of them launching the standard gauge railway. Uganda set up a standard gauge railway office, they negotiated this. Up to now, we are still stuck. And the one that we have that we're going to build, I don't know whether you've been reading General Muhoozi Kainerugaba criticizing it. It is inflated, and I don't want to go into the details. Maybe I'll rate them someday when these matters are resolved. So, if the average time it takes between consumption of a dam to doing visibility studies, then tendering for its construction, commencement of construction and completion, the average time it takes is not less than 20 years. Now, Uganda's installed electricity capacity right now is about 1,820. I hope a few dams have come on board and we are 2,000. Our peak demand is about 1,300 now. Our effective supply, if you put on every dam and put them work at the same time. Maximum we can produce is 1,500, 1,450 megawatts. Am I correct? Yeah. Basically, I should tell you, Uganda has run out of electricity. Why? Because especially when your source of electricity is hydro, you are advised to have a buffer depending on the hydraulics of anything between 25 to 40% excess electricity, the difference between your effective supply and your peak demand. Because if you have to repair a turbine to do service, or there's an accident or whatever it is, and some turbines are switched off for service, for repairs, for maintenance, whatever it is, you should be able, so you have maybe taken 10% or 15% of the electricity off, you should still be able to make your peak demand. So right now Uganda has no excess electricity as people think. So if it takes you 20 years to commission a dam at Ayago, which is going to produce 700 megawatts, so we are going to have to increase the electricity from 2,000 megawatts, 3,000 in the next 20 years. You get what I'm saying? But for us to grow the economy tenfold, it means that our electricity demand will grow from the current 1,350 megawatts to 20,000 megawatts. So we need 20,000 megawatts to achieve Museveni's vision. But our government capacity to deliver that electricity in the next 20 years, let me say a maximum of 2,000. There is a big mismatch between your demands and your capabilities. Now that is the realm of strategy. Strategy is how do you match your ambition with your capabilities, with your resources. By the way, that is the definition of strategy. That these are my aims, these are my means. Do the means afford me to achieve the ends? So, if you asked me, Uganda government, as currently constituted and run by President Yoweri Museveni, cannot achieve any of the ambitions that he articulated yesterday. Let me conclude by coming to the issue of corruption.
Let's come to corruption.